Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Pat Prokop, retired meteorologist at that. And today is Friday, August the 25th. And it's been relatively quiet in the tropics in and around this area, but out in the Atlantic Ocean, yeah, it's been relatively quite active out there. And looks like some activity now is going to start brewing in the Caribbean Sea and move up into the Gulf of Mexico for early to middle portion of next week. So with that being said, let's go to the maps. And bringing up the maps, and I'm over here now. Here we go. Here's the tropical outlook for this Friday afternoon. It's busy out there. Tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa. Another one in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean showing no major concern for that one, and a little tiny one off to the north of that between Bermuda and the Azores. But over here you have Franklin with 50-mile-per-hour winds, not all that organized at the moment, but it's going to get stronger over the next couple of days as it moves off toward the north. And looking at the other activities, this area here in the north-central portion of the northwestern Caribbean Sea is expected to move into the central and eastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico as it moves off toward the north-northeast. Will it be moving right in toward the coastal areas of Georgia and southern South Carolina? Well, there's a possibility of that as a tropical storm or maybe even a hurricane. Well, if it does develop into a hurricane, what are the names anyway? And looking at the names right now, here we have already down to Harold over in the north of the Hispaniola area now, moving off to the north. It looks like that one's going to miss Bermuda. It's going to go between Bermuda and the mainland United States, staying out in the Atlantic Ocean. But the next name on the list is Idalia. Idalia is the next name on the list. It's the I storm coming up for this year. So it looks like Idalia will be forming in the northern Caribbean or southern Gulf of Mexico over the weekend into early next week. So with that being said, let's take a look at the satellite imagery. And I'm going to refresh this, make sure it's all up to date. Now, if we look at Tropical Storm Harold over here, there's the center of rotation right over here in this area right here. And that is going to be moving toward the north over the next couple of days and starts to get better organized. Right now, some pretty good wind shear flowing across that area. But this is the region I'm concerned about over here. And over here is where we have the developing system right now, and it is over in the extreme northwestern portions of the Caribbean Sea, and it's expected to move off to the north, and then perhaps northeast over the next several days. So something to look at, because this area of concern here is moving into some very warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean. And looking at those waters, we can see those temperatures are very warm in the upper 20s and lower 30s Celsius. What is that in Fahrenheit? That's in the mid to upper 80s. 31 degrees is 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And look at all this 87 to 89 degree water temperature. And these little brighter pinks, that could be flirting with 90 degree water temperature in the Gulf of Mexico. What's so important about the water temperature? Well, think of it as your octane rating of your fuel that you use your gasoline for your car. Usually we use 87 octane, but you can get some high test at 89 or 93 octane, which is a super high, hot burning gasoline. And the higher the water temperature, the higher the octane value. So that's more energy for the hurricane or tropical storms to draw from. So one of the things we're seeing with these warm water temperatures is the rapid expansion of tropical storms. We saw that with Hillary out in the Pacific Ocean as it was off the Baja of California in the west coast of Mexico. Went from, 45 miles per hour up to about 95 to 120 miles per hour. It was a 75 mile per hour increase in 24 hours, which was incredible because it was feeding off that warm water. And last several years in the Gulf of Mexico, we've been seeing some very rapid intensification from 24 to 36 hours of wind speeds increasing up to from 45 to 120, 130 miles an hour. So we have to keep that in mind. That this water temperature is the fuel to work with, and there's a lot of fuel out there. So anything that develops in here with favorable mid and upper level conditions can actually explode. A rapid intensification is possible. So we'll take a look at the computer models right now. The GFS, the Global Forecast System, has been kind of lacking in tracking this system, but it's beginning to take its shape now, and it's picking up on the storm itself. Here we are this morning, and let's go into Saturday. And you can see it's trying to develop there right in the Straits of Yucatan, a system there. There's Harold over here beginning now to get better organized as the shear starts lessening there. But continue to motion, and we see that the system in the Gulf of Mexico now starts to really shape up as it goes over that warmer waters. This is Tuesday morning, and according to the GFS, the Global Forecast System, there goes Harold, and Bermuda's right over here, so it'll be scraping to the west of Bermuda, east of the U.S. mainland. Meanwhile, going back into time and going into Tuesday night at sunset, there it is in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, and it looks like it could be already a very strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane, Category 1 hurricane, and it continues to move off to the northeast, moving across in around the Panama Beach area of Florida into southeastern Alabama, southwestern Georgia. And here we are on the eastern Georgia and South Carolina on the eastern side of the storm, and that's the storm side where you get more turbulent weather conditions, heavier rains, and also you get the potential for tornadoes. So we have to keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a hurricane to get tornadoes out of these systems. You can get tornadoes and heavy rains out of tropical storms. As a matter of fact, you can get really heavy rains out of tropical depressions if they're moving slowly. But this one seems to be moving at a rather high rate of speed, so it'll be in and out shortly. But it looks like right now this is for Wednesday night at sunset would be the worst of the storm be passing by at that time. But that's the global forecast model. The other models, a couple other ones over here. Let's go to the German model first of all, the icon. It has it as well forming, but it pushes it a little bit more further eastward, and it brings it right over Savannah and Hilton Head Island on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. So that's something to be concerned about. And notice that it also shows somewhat rapid intensification going on in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. Now, let's about the Canadian model. This model has been doing really good this year so far, the CMC, the Canadian Meteorological Center. And watch how it takes a hold of this system. It brings it up, and almost it's a cross between the GFS and the ICON model. It's in between those two and brings it into, instead of southeastern Alabama, it brings it into southwest to south central portions of Georgia. And this is it's actually Tuesday at 2 a.m., Tuesday night, Wednesday morning at 2 a.m., 6 Zulu. And then it brings it across eastern Georgia into the eastern South Carolina areas. Again, on the eastern side of the storm, that's the turbulent side of the storm. That's where you get the tornadoes and the strong gusty winds, a lot of times with the squalls and heavy rains associated with that. So there it is right there. What about the ever famous, everybody wants to know, what's the European model, the ECMWF doing? Well, that model is coming in right now. Good. I just checked it earlier. It wasn't quite there. But there it is, picking it up again, very similar. And this one is similar to, it looks like the German model, where it's taking it a little bit further eastward, bringing it into the just west of Tampa, Florida, Fort Myers, Florida, moving it off toward the northeast. And it looks like it's going to be bringing it right over eastern Georgia and South Carolina once again. What time is this? This is at 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. 11 o'clock Tuesday night. I'm converting Greenwich time to Eastern Daylight Time here. Anyway, there's another view of the ECMWF. It's called the FAST, and it's not as defined, and it is a little bit spread out, but it shows the actual path going right along the Georgia and South Carolina coast. And it looks like it could be a hurricane according to the ECMWF. So we'll have to keep an eye on this system, very, very strong system that could push across the area. What about rainfall? How much rainfall are we talking? Well, I think the models are really underscoring this. I think it's going to be more because There's a lot of moisture to be worked with here. The atmosphere is very rich with moisture and all that warm water in the Gulf of Mexico and off the east coast of the United States too. The Gulf Stream here is in the mid to upper 80s at this time as well, and the coastal water temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s across Georgia and South Carolina. So there's a lot of warm water to draw moisture from. And the GFS model, remember, it had it further westward, and it has the bulk of the rain further westward. This is 5 to 7 inches of rain in here across the eastern Alabama, western Georgia. What about the icon, the German model? It has a narrow band of moderate to heavy rains across the eastern Georgia around US 1 area and 301 moving into South Carolina. The purple area here is about 3 inches of rain. But let's go with the Canadian model. And again, it has it further eastward. And so this is 12 Zulu Thursday, or basically around sunrise on Thursday. This is 8 a.m. to be exact, Eastern Daylight Time. Anyway, it has quite a bit of rain across our region here. I don't know if the ECMWF rainfall is in yet. Let's take a look. It's not all the way in, but it shows the rain coming up. This is as of Tuesday mid-afternoon. So most of the rain is going to be Tuesday night and Wednesday across our area. Something else to keep in mind is this. Let me zoom in on this for a little bit, see if I can zoom in. This is the tide data, and we have a super full moon coming in this weekend into early next week. It'll be full on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and you don't want to have a tropical system moving into your area with a full moon, particularly a super full moon. The tides are going to be up there at 8.8 feet, or you can see it right there, 8.8 feet. And with an easterly flow of winds, that's easily going to drive this up to around 10 feet or higher. Flooding on the US 80 between the Bull River and the and Tybee, Lazaretto Creek starts at about 9.6 thereabouts, 9.7. So we can easily get over 10 feet and maybe even up to 11 feet, depending on how strong the winds are. So keep that in mind. The tide is going to be very high all of next week with this super full moon. By the way, it's the second full moon of the month, so we call that a lot of times a blue moon. It's not going to be blue in color. It's just like as rare as a blue moon. Anyway, let's look at the conditions across my area here, my webpage. And well, the last video I did was tropics are activating. They certainly are activating right now. And there's my forecast for the conditions. And we got Tuesday and Wednesday being quite wet across the area. And it could be very wet across our region. So keep that in mind. And so stay tuned. I'll have more updates as it becomes available right here on my YouTube weather channel. And if you would like, you can help support my channel right here on YouTube by supporting my channel by joining my Patreon list or buy me a cup of coffee. You can do that. Another thing you can do is you can subscribe to my page so you get the latest information and notification when I upload new videos. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any comments, please submit your comments in the comment section below. That helps with that YouTube algorithm, as they call it, to help spread out the video to more people who are not subscribers to this channel. So with that being said, I also have another channel, the astronomy channel, my Heavenly Backyard Astronomy, which I'm putting out new videos right now. I'm finally getting some clear skies at night, but keeping an eye on this storm. Could be Idalia, perhaps over the weekend coming into the middle portion of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday in particular, those are the days of interest. So you can follow me on social media right here on YouTube, my Facebook pages, and Instagram. So see you later.